February 21st, 2021. We are calling the Mobile Home Rent Review Commission meeting to order. In the interest of public health and safety and pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order N2920, members of the Mobile Home Rent Review Commission and staff are participating in this meeting by teleconference in accordance with Executive Order. The public may view this meeting online, but not in council chambers at 276 4th Avenue, Building A, Chula Vista, California. The city launched a virtual commenting portal, e-comment, that allows residents to comment and participate in the meeting from their own homes. You can find the link to e-comment at www.chulavistaca.gov/virtual meetings, one word. Your comments must be received before we call for the close of the commenting period in order to be considered. After the commenting period is closed, we will announce a brief pause to allow commissioners time to read any comments that have been received. If you have difficulty or need assistance with e-comment during the meeting, please email dgonzez@chulavistaca.gov or call 619-691-5047 and the Development Services staff will assist you. Secretary Gonzalez, will you please call the roll?
Okay, Commissioner Acero? Oh, let me unmute you, Terry.
Oh, here.
Oh, there you are. Okay, Commissioner Aguirre?
Present.
Commissioner Cordero?
Here.
Commissioner Epstein?
Here.
Commissioner Smith? Commissioner Smith?
I believe Commissioner Smith is absent,
Yes.
and Commissioner Smith's term is actually expiring.
Okay. All right, and Commissioner Witzel? Commissioner Witzel? Oh, we can't hear you, Paula.
Maybe just a hand raise.
Yeah. That works too.
Okay,
All right.
that'll work. We see a visual thumbs up. So the first item on the agenda is presentation of new members. It's been a while, and we have two new members with us, Abel Cordero and Brenda Aguirre, that were both nominated and accepted participation in the civic process. So I wanted to introduce them both, and maybe if you wanted to say a few words or introduce yourselves, that would be great.
I would say ladies first, so Brenda.
Thank you. Oh, my name is Brenda Aguirre. I am a resident of District 2 here in Chula Vista. I work as a resource navigator for Chicano Federation, and I have right now just working diligently providing COVID kits, rental assistance, and helping anybody in the community that has had issues losing their jobs, needing EDD, whatever it takes. It's not something that Chicano Federation usually does, but you know, COVID hit the community very hard, so we've been working on that. So, yeah, that's what I do. That's who I am. Thank you.
All right. So my name is Abel Cordero. I'm a resident here of District 4 as well, born and raised here in Chula Vista. Work for Hormel Foods, and I'm just happy to be here, see how I can help out.
Awesome. Thank you both. All right. Milani?
Okay,
All right.
so with that, I'm going to call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final comments on the item. So commissioners, as a reminder, in your chat box, you will see the link to the e-comment portal. Please refresh that view on your screen to ensure any new comments appear. And with that, I am going to start the timer, I'm hoping. Hopefully you all are seeing the timer.
Yep.
Yes.
Excellent.
I think I figured out how to unmute myself, so I'm here.
Yes, we can
Thank
hear you.
you. We are all learning on this.
Excuse me.
Getting near the finish line here. All right, with that, has the commenting period for this item is now closed. Have commissioners had enough time to read any comments that may have been submitted?
Yes.
I'm assuming there are probably no comments submitted. So with that, we will move to hearing no comments or questions. We will now move to public comment section. So public comments is a section on the agenda for members of the public to address the board on items that are not listed on the agenda. I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final public comments. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure no comments appear.
Will staff please display the public comment and start the timer?
Absolutely.
Do we know if anybody from the public has logged in? Are we aware of who's logged into this meeting? No?
No, ma'am, we have no attendees logged in, but because this meeting is being recorded, we have to provide the opportunity for the 2-minute time frame. In case someone may join us at 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I'm not sure, I don't believe they have to be logged into the meeting in order to submit an e-comment, but I mean, I would think that you'd be listening in order to do that. Almost there. Time's up. So the commenting period for public comments is now closed. Have the commissioners had enough time to read any comments if submitted?
Yes.
Secretary Gonzalez, would you please announce for the record the number of comments received?
0 comments were received via e-comment and/or email.
So moving on, well, the next item on the agenda is item 2, and this is related to the election of your chair and vice chair. As we had stated previously, there is no current chair or vice chair of this commission, and that was particularly because we were lacking a number of commissioners. So at this point in time, I know we are already mid-year, but if you would like to entertain any motions related to a chair or a vice chair. Do we have any volunteers or nominations?
Everybody seems very excited about it. I would like to volunteer for the vice chair position.
Excellent. Do we have
I have a
if no one
nomination.
becomes chair, you may actually become vice chair.
What exactly is the role of a chair or vice chair?
So the chair or the vice chair would basically just run the meeting, like what I'm doing for you right now. I am in effect acting as your chair or just leading you through the meeting. And as you can tell from the virtual meeting, and for those who have attended multiple commission meetings, there's a standard protocol and standard language and scripting that we give you. Very helpful for going through the meeting process, but very stilted as well. So it really is just to facilitate the meeting and to lead it as the chair.
So I'll volunteer for chair.
I second it.
There we go. So we have a volunteer. So there's a motion from Commissioner Cordero and a second from Commissioner Witzel. So we'll call it to vote. Secretary, please.
Okay. I will now request each member's vote by roll call. Let's see.
Oh, we should have to do a public comment.
Okay.
Let's do, so I apologize, I'm not following the script. We've had a motion, we've heard from some volunteers, we've had the clarifying questions. So I will now pause for the 2-minute allowance for the public to submit any final comments on the item before the commission deliberates and makes a final vote on this item. So please refresh your screen. I will pull up your timer right now. commenting period for this item is now closed. Have the commissioners had enough time to read the submitted comments, if any? I'm seeing and hearing an affirmative.
Yes.
Secretary Gonzalez, would you please announce for the record the number of comments received, any comments in favor or opposed to the item?
Danya, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. There were no comments received either through e-comment or email.
Perfect. So are there any more comments or questions by the commission members?
No?
If not, I heard from Commissioner Cordero a motion to nominate himself, a second by Commissioner Witzel on that nomination. So with that, Secretary.
Okay, I will now request each member's vote by roll call. Commissioner Acero?
Here.
Acero.
Oh, did we lose Teresa?
We might have lost Teresa.
Uh-oh. Okay, let's give her a few minutes to get back in. All right, Commissioner Aguirre?
Yes.
Commissioner Cordero?
Yes.
Commissioner Epstein?
Yes.
And Commissioner Witzel?
Yes.
Okay. Leilani, I'm not quite sure what to do with Teresa's vote.
Teresa was able to get in before.
Yes.
So we still do have a quorum.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and forge forward.
Okay.
I also heard that Commissioner Aguirre had made a motion for herself to act as vice chair.
Okay.
And do we have a second on that?
I second.
Commissioner Witzel seconds.
Okay.
Secretary Gonzalez?
Okay. I will now request each member's vote by roll call. Commissioner Acero? I think she's still not in. Commissioner Aguirre?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Cordero?
Yes.
Commissioner Epstein?
Yes.
Commissioner Witzel?
Yes.
All right.
So both actions pass. Chair
Yes.
Cordero, would you like to handle the meeting from here forward? Should we email you the script?
Do I have a choice?
Well, you can try your hand at it and we will prod you along as we need to.
So you're saying for the next one, correct?
Yes. So there are two other agenda items. Danya, I don't know. I don't have access to the email addresses.
Okay.
Can you send over the script?
Sure.
The script does help, even though I know it is a little stilted. I will go ahead, and while Danya's emailing you the script, I'll go ahead and present on the next item, which is item number 3. And it really is intended because I know a few of you have been here for a bit with us, Commissioner Witzel, Commissioner Epstein, Commissioner Acero, so are very familiar. But with 2 new members, we thought it would be helpful to just give you a brief overview about why you're here and what kinds of things you may be seeing. And it really is, it's not the most thorough presentation on the ordinance and how it works. I think if we get a case, we will certainly have a presentation of how the procedures for a case, but I just wanted to give you a brief overview on the ordinance, the purpose, and what this is all about. So with that, I am going to share my presentation, hopefully. Y'all see that presentation on the screen?
Yes.
I do.
Perfect. So chapter 9.50, which is really what you all are in charge of, is a chapter within the city's municipal code that was enacted in May 1982. So it's been a while. It's a process for negotiation and mediation of rent increases for mobile home communities. And the city of Chula Vista has a number of mobile home communities and probably one of the largest mobile home communities in the San Diego County region. And so with new commission members, we wanted to give you this brief history and understanding of the ordinance. Oh, this is not working out so well. Okay. So to provide you some context of the mobile home rental market and benefits that result from the program, when the program was originally established back in 1982, this was the type, the 13.5%. That was the types of, that was the CPI at that point in time. You can see how quickly or how it's dropped down into the 1.3, 2 range, 3 range. So when it was enacted, it was a huge CPI increase, and we were seeing a lot of huge rent increases out there, and so City Council enacted the ordinance. The CPI has averaged about 2% over the last 2 years, going as high as 3.4 we saw in 2018, and as low as 1.3 in 2013. So when looking at the Chula Vista marketplace, rents for new incoming mobile home residents are about $820 per month. That's far less than the average $1,900 a month we are seeing for 2-bedroom apartments. This last year has been a trying one. I can't say what the marketplace looks like now, but mobile home communities do offer for a more relatively lower priced housing option for our residents. So it's 22% less than the average space in other South Bay regions and areas. For Chula Vista, market rents for new mobile home tenants generally increased about 14% over the last 5 years. In the South Bay region, rents have increased at a far greater rate of about 23%. So living here in Chula Vista, while I know many people say my rent is still too high, when you're talking about relative rents, it is still much more affordable than what we see happening in the marketplace, whether it's in the South Bay region or with other rental products. So the rent review program establishes an annual rent increase that mobile home park owners may charge their tenant without rent increases being subject to a review process. And that's really what this is. It's a rent review process. It's not necessarily rent control or where we say you can only raise your rents a maximum of. The rent increase that mobile home park residents can receive are usually what we call an annual permissive increase, and it's based upon the All Items Consumer Price Index, or CPI. I forget what the current CPI is, honestly. But that doesn't mean that a park owner can't raise it above the CPI. It only means that there is a process to do that. So park owners may increase rents one time a year consistent with that CPI. For those park owners who feel that it is necessary because either they've had unexpected expenses, something's occurring that they feel like the revenue that they're receiving is not enough to be able to maintain the business, to be able to maintain the property in a quality standpoint, they can go ahead and try to raise the rent above that annual permissive. The municipal code just lays out that process, and it says you need to notify tenants, you need to meet with tenants to hopefully voluntarily work something out. And then if residents still, after going through the kind of the meeting, the talking, If a resident chooses, and an eligible resident chooses, they can request that this be appealed to your body, the Mobile Home Rent Review Commission. You would therefore go through a process in determining what would be a reasonable rent increase for both the park owner as well as the residents that are living there. Only those mobile home residents who've chosen to participate in the rent review program by payment of an annual administrative fee that we charge can avail themselves of the rent review process. So those are the eligible tenants. It's important to note that last year, California did enact a statewide rent control measure. Those are for residential tenants of multifamily products and certain single-family homes, but that specifically exempts out mobile home parks. So they're not covered under statewide rent control, and hence why we continue to have a program that's specific to mobile home residents. Our process is different from many other jurisdictions in that it is a resident-driven process versus a mobile home park process. It does allow for unspecified rent increases, and it allows residents to challenge those rent increases. And the city has opted for this type of program because we view it as being much more flexible and fair rather than just setting a blanket rent increase that doesn't take into consideration individual ownerships and individual circumstances. So we continue to operate the program as is, and have not seen or heard of any requests to really change or review the process. So in order to avail yourself of our rent control services, it applies only to spaces prior to 1990. So if a new mobile home park developed, it would not be part of this process. And then for a resident to be eligible, they need to own their coach. They need to have a short-term lease or a lease of 12 months. So somebody who has a long-term lease of 10 years is not able to participate because they voluntarily negotiated a long-term lease agreement that they thought was perhaps more favorable to them than to be on a shorter term lease. And then it only applies to those residents who live in the home as their principal residence, not to owners who are using the space as their second home. They might live in Arizona or Florida and then just come here for other parts of the year. So those are the eligible residents. And as we talked about, there's kind of this opt-in, opt-out function, and it's related to the payment of the fee. So if you pay this annual administrative fee to the city to provide these services that Danya is going to talk to you a little bit about further down the line, you have this ability to avail yourself of a process if a mobile home park chooses to go this route. We haven't seen any cases. I came here 25 years ago, and at that point in time, with the ordinance that we had, we did go through a couple of cases. We had a couple of cases, and I think Danya will show you in terms of expenses, where I think it was in 2016, 2017, we had a couple of park owners who started to go down that process of raising rents. But fortunately, in that instance, there was a lot of communication, a lot of discussion between park owner and residents, and they were able to voluntarily settle on a reasonable rent increase, and it did not get appealed to the commission. So we really haven't had any rent control cases come before this commission in quite a long time. We had a string early on in my career here where we did on vacancy issues, but in 2012, I think, we had vacancy decontrol, and that has helped a lot in terms of protection of our residents or those existing residents that have certain rents. Those have been able to maintain themselves with those coming in, new residents, really being able to negotiate and seeing rent increases from as people move out. So with rent control, again, you're allowed this process should you ever receive a rent increase above the permissive. We talked about the fee. We've talked a little bit about that. It was established in 2011. And this was because we wanted to ensure what we were finding was if we had a case come before us, and at that time, I think around about that time, we had a case. We didn't have the ability, we have no revenue stream here to be able to hire experts to do the analysis. And so we felt that in order for us to do the job we needed to do when cases come before us and to ensure that we had a consistent funding source, that it was necessary for residents to pay a little bit for the services that they would be receiving. Last year, that fee was $12. In the past, when we first started the program, I think it started out at $60, and we've been able to continually reduce that fee. Last year, it was set at $12, given the fact that we were just starting out in this COVID-19 pandemic. And so Danya is going to be talking to you a little bit more about that fee and how we want to move forward. When that fee was established, it does require us to go back every year and to set that fee to talk about our expenses, the revenue that's being generated, and whether that fee is sufficient to provide the services to our residents. And so with that, that's my quick overview, hopefully. Your staff to this commission is Angelica Davis, Danya Gonzalez, who you've met on the line. I'm the housing manager. I'm here to assist, but those two will be your primary contacts for all mobile home issues. And we have a tremendous amount of information on our website. If you go to chulavistaca.gov/housing, you'll be able to find lots of information on mobile home rent review, resources for residents, etc., and some other new and exciting things that Danya will speak to you about. So with that, that concludes my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing.
All right, so Chair Cordero, I don't know if you had a chance to look over the script, but if you want to take it over, we're at the top of page 5.
I have not had a chance to look at it, but
So I can assist you, Commissioner Cordero, Chair Cordero. At this point, after a presentation, we typically will ask our commissioners if they have any questions of staff related to the information that was presented. And then from there, we would move to our 2-minute timer for any public comments as well.
okay. So I did receive the email, but I'm a little lost. I apologize as to what page you're on.
No worries, we're at the top of page 5. So on the bottom left-hand corner, you'll be able to see the page numbers.
Sometimes there's formatting issues too.
Yeah.
So what we see is page 5 might not be yours.
I think that might be it because it's not even showing page numbers, so it just kind of blows one after another. So,
Okay, item 3.
item 3.
Yes. And you'll see after staff, it'll say
Okay.
chair. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, item 3, chair. Okay, there we are. Do the commissioners have any, is that where we're at? Do the
Yes.
commissioners have any
Exactly.
questions or staff before we go to the public comment?
No questions.
Okay. Now, I will now allow for a 2-minute pause to allow for the public to submit any final comments on the items before commissioners. As a reminder, please refresh to view your screen to ensure new comments appear.
Okay, will staff please display the public comment and start the timer?
Thank you, Chair Cordero.
You're welcome.
Okay, so there were 0 comments received either through e-comment or email.
I apologize. I lost the screen.
No worries.
When the clock. I lost the screen of the agenda. So for future meetings, I will have this beforehand, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I know. So that's why I gave you the option. I gave you the option if you wanted to chair it, or if you would like us to assist you, because I know it's hard when you don't have the script for this type of presentation. So the secretary did announce that there were no comments received through the e-comment portal. And so if any of the commissioners have any comments or questions.
No questions.
And so this item was really just a presentation, so there's no action being taken. So we will not be calling a vote on this item. And so we can move to item 4, Chair. And Danya, you have a presentation?
Yes. You have the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to try and pull up that PowerPoint.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I will reintroduce myself. My name is Dania Gonzalez. I am an analyst at the City of Chula Vista Housing Division, and I am currently the secretary for this commission. And I'm going to just give you all a brief update on the administrative fee for fiscal year 2020 to 2021. which is July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. So we're halfway through the fiscal year. And here's the presentation. All right, let's, if we can go to the next slide, please, Leilani. So there are certain expenses that we can count on having every year. Among these are the, hopefully, the next slide. There we go. So the first one is the annual permissive rent calculations. Sorry, Leilani, it's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, correct? They release the CPI every year. So we take the CPI in February and in August. Leilani does her magic math, and we release that amount to the park owners. And so that's, part of the expenses, just the calculation, communication and dissemination with all park owners and managers to make sure that they know the allowable CPI for rent increases. The next expense that we can count on is administrative fee billing, which includes updating the billing letter, communicating with our mailing company, the cost of printing and mailing, and just everything that goes into that. And the third common expense that we have every year is rent review administration and staff time. So this includes communication with residents, which could be just, a phone call because they have a question, or they could be calling to ask, when is the finance office open? When can I come in to pay my fee? All that good stuff. This also includes the organization of files. We keep all of the receipts for all of the payments received through the billing cycle, through the billing period, and just organization of all of that. Generating reports for park owners. We need to let park owners and managers know who has paid the fee and who has not, so that they are aware of for their rent increase purposes. And this also includes processing payments and refunds. We process payments in-house, either through our finance department or through one of our admin staff, and other tasks. So this could include, for example, downloading payment information from the website now that we have online payment as an option. Next slide, please. So as you can see, staff time has fluctuated quite a bit.
Trying to move the slide. Sorry, Tanya.
No worries. Staff time has fluctuated quite a bit over the past 5 years, and you'll see in the next slide. Leilani mentioned that there was a huge staff time expense. This was in 2013. The staff time in 2013 was $99,550. And that's when there were a couple of cases to review. There was a lot of outreach done in our mobile home parks. But as you can see, even in the past 5 years, there's been quite a fluctuation of staff time. And this can include, for example, 2020 staff time. It went up a bit more due to new staff training. COVID led to an increase of calls from residents, and just, spending more time trying to figure out how do we present this to council, right? With COVID, how do we present a fee, something that's acceptable for residents and to council? Changing current forms and processes. Like I mentioned, we now have online payment as an option, as well as the implementation of online verification of payment. So residents no longer have to call to confirm if their payment was received. They can just go online with their account number and see, was my payment received, yes or no? So that's, new. We rolled that out this year. A lot of residents, still didn't know about it. So a lot of our staff time this year was also educating residents on the new options for payments. Okay, we go to the next slide, please. Okay, so also over the past 5 years, we've seen a steady increase in resident participation in the rent control program, up about 250 participants from 2016 to last year. And as you can see, the fee has also been reduced slowly over the past 5 years. Last year, council decided to make it $1 per month, so that's how we came up with the $12. $12 fee for rent control, and that may have led to an increase in participation as well. Okay, and at the bottom you'll see our total revenue, much lower, of course, last year, but more participants, which is great. Okay, next slide. All right, so the big question for this year's administrative fee is, can we keep the fee at $12? The answer is yes. Since we currently have a fund balance, yes, we can keep the fee at $12. Not forever, because the expenses do exceed the revenue from a $12 fee. So to be able to sustain our current expenses, the fee would need to be approximately $30. So at some point, we would need to relook at this. Our budgeted expenditures include the cost for I'm sorry, I'm blanking out on the word, for legal assistance to help us in case there is a case to review, and an undue rent increase. But that's really why our budgeted expenditures are so high. Our actual expenditures usually come in a little lower than what we budget. So we are anticipating a starting fund balance for fiscal year 22 at $233,000. Okay. Are there any questions? Hopefully that was quick and painless.
So the balance is actually going down because the $12 does not effectively cover the expense. So we're using some of the surplus that we have to cover the difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I just wanted to make sure that you all know that this fund balance, this is in a very specific specialized fund. It cannot be used for any other purpose than for mobile home park related expenses. So these funds won't be used, cannot go to pay for general fund expenses.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, and I probably also note that while you see this budgeted expenditures of $65,000, a lot of this fee program is related to it's a risk issue. Should we ever get a case, we could go down a rabbit hole pretty quickly with legal expenses, expert expenses, and so having the fund balance at a healthy amount allows us to anticipate if there is a case that comes forward. We never know when a case will come forward. So it's really just about being prepared for the ifs and the whens. That's also the case for our residents. They pay the $12 fee as a bit of an insurance that their existing rent payment stays at a pretty predictable amount. We have seen some tenants, when they do not pay the fee, that a park owner will increase it well above the CPI. So where they may have normally gotten a $40 increase, they may get $100 a month increase. And that rent increase becomes permanent and their go-forward base of rent payments. So that's what the tenant pays for when they pay for the fee. It's all about risk and kind of ensuring some level of stability for the future for both staff and for residents.
Has there been any cases where they've had to pay for legal consultations?
Yes. Sorry, Leilani, you're muted.
You're muted, Leilani.
Did y'all hear me when I was talking about it as an insurance and the benefit of that? Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. So no, we haven't seen any cases. I think what Donnie presented in her graph where the expenses were high, I think it was in 2016, 2017.
It was back in 2013, yeah.
2013?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we haven't seen, that was the last time we saw a potential for a rent increase. And Amy's been in this business a while too, so she chime in, Amy. At any point.
Yeah.
I'll chime in. The real reason why the ordinance was changed and why the residents started paying, the residents that were protected by rent control started paying for the fee themselves was because of the big Jade Bay case, which ended up costing the city a lot of money. So it was the right move on everyone. It did run through the Rent Review Commission. It got ugly fast. My dad was on the commission at the time, but it was the right move to have the residents pay for the fee that essentially protects them, and also have this fund specifically for that the general Chula Vista population wasn't paying into. And obviously, we all know in times of unexpected pandemics that anytime you have some extra surplus, it's a good thing.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Amy.
Sorry, I have little visitors in the background.
No, you better keep bringing us way back, because I don't even know when Jade Bay was. So for anyone who knows the Chula Vista area, we have one park still remaining in that area. Jade Bay has now closed, and is now, that parcel is has condo or apartment development on it. It overlooks the bay. It's right off of the I-5 freeway. And just north of East Street. So if you're ever driving down the 5 corridor, you'll see the one remaining mobile home park, and across the street was Jade Bay. So yeah, that was a pretty hairy case. So we've had some hairy cases. I think when I first started, Brentwood was a big one, and that one we actually took all the way through civil litigation on that one. That was quite expensive for the city as well. So it's exactly right. We go down a rabbit hole really quickly when we have a case, because of the legal expenses, the expert expenses, and so that's what the cushion is for. But outside of Jade Bay, I don't think we've had very many cases. We haven't really seen too many. And I'll be honest, with COVID-19 and where everyone is from a business standpoint, from a resident standpoint, I'm not sure when we come out of this and people start to, when we start to see the economic impacts of whether or not there are going to be some business decisions made in the future because of what is currently happening. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We didn't see this coming, and so I'm never going to predict the future from here on out.
But for the residents, it's cheap insurance.
It certainly is. I would, and that's what we tell residents is, if this were me, I would gladly pay a $25 fee this year and next year to avoid a $100 rent increase every month for as long as I live here. If you do the math, it just doesn't, it's a risk. It really is a risk. And thankfully, we were able to keep it down to the $12 last year. I think that's a pretty affordable price. So
yeah, we had some residents pay for 2 spaces because it was just cheap.
So I have one last question here on the presentation where it said spaces paid. That's total number of spaces people have paid. How many total spaces are there?
Oh man, that is a great question. Well, there are 31 parks.
I want to say 3,400, maybe.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right.
That sounds about right. And so while the 2,000 residents who paid, we do have a lot of residents who may have long-term leases, and so therefore are not eligible to pay the fee.
Gotcha.
Because,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or residents that don't own
Or don't own,
unit.
It's their second home.
Yeah, or the park owns it, right? The residents rent out the home, but they don't own the home.
We do have some parks that do that. They own both the space and the and the mobile home and just rent it like it was a typical apartment
Mhm.
or single family home.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
So
So do the commissioners have any clarifying questions for the staff before we go to public comment? Okay, I'll take that as a no. I will allow 2-minute pause to allow for the public to submit any final comments on the items before deliberation. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh your view screen to ensure any comments appear. Okay, the commenting period for this item has now closed. Have the commissioners had enough time to read the submitted comments? Secretary Gonzalez, would you please announce for the record the number of comments received in favor or opposed for the item?
There were 0 comments received in favor or opposed through e-comment or email.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have any comments or questions?
None.
None.
Okay.
So Chair Cordero, what we would be looking for here from staff is a motion to entertain a recommendation related to the administrative fee for the new year. So last year we had it at $12. Staff is recommending that we maintain that at $12. So that's the formal recommendation we would be looking to from the commission.
And this is for the 2020 fiscal year?
Yeah, for the year for going 2020.
Oh gosh, it's 2022.
20,
Yeah.
yeah. 2021, 2022.
Oh, we're in 2021. That's right. Okay. Another year off. I'm still not, haven't switched yet, the calendar. Okay, 21 to 22.
Yes.
Yes.
I so move. I move that we keep the fee at $12 for the fiscal year 21-22.
I second the motion.
Great. Okay, I will now request each member's vote by roll call. Commissioner Acero,
You're muted, Teresa.
do you want to give us a thumbs up or?
Thumbs up or visual?
We can't hear you, Teresa.
Danya, are you able to mute her or unmute her?
I don't think her audio is connected, actually.
Yeah. We did notice as staff, when we were coming into the WebEx, we had to manually switch on our audio.
It might be on your left-hand, bottom left-hand side, Teresa.
It's
It might say connect audio.
There she goes. Excellent.
Now let's unmute. There you go.
Okay, I'm in favor.
Okay, great. Okay, Commissioner Aguirre?
we can't hear you.
Okay. Oh. Commissioner Aguirre?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Cordero?
I'm in favor.
Commissioner Epstein? Okay, and Commissioner Witzel?
Yes.
Okay, great.
So just for the record, it was Commissioner Witzel made the motion, Commissioner Aguirre seconded with all members in favor.
Yes.
So now we'll move on to other business.
Leilani, just to confirm, I'm not actually a voting member, right?
No, but you know.
Just making sure.
Your input is helpful.
Yes, you were absolutely. Your comments and your input is very helpful, especially tonight. So for staff, we did want to make you aware, it is the COVID-19 pandemic. We do have issues. We alluded to the fact that, you know, we don't know what the economic impact is going to be. And this is especially, I think, helpful for Commissioner Epstein, who I know is in the mobile home community. Commissioner Witzel, I know you're in the real estate community. If you have not heard, there was a bill that was passed. We have had ongoing money, CARES Act funds available. We have put those funds out for rental assistance. Mobile home parks and mobile home park rental are eligible for all of those programs. At this point in time, we have exhausted those funds, but if you heard in December, there was a new bill passed. The city of Chula Vista will be a direct recipient of rental assistance money from the new bill. We are anticipating, we actually just got our application approved this week. Staff member Jose Dorado is in charge of that program. We expect a significant amount of money available to our residents to assist with rent arrears, so going back and going forward every 3 months and reassessing that, and then up to a maximum of 1 year. So as commission members who are out there, who have a network of friends, of colleagues, you are in this business, please share that information to your friends, family, and colleagues, etc., that we will soon have a program that will be able to assist residents with rent, and consequently assist our business owners who have rental properties with being able to receive that revenue in turn. We have not yet worked it all out as to who those community partners would be to assist the city in getting the money out. But as soon as we have information and flyers, etc., we will be sure to roll that out to the commission members. And anyone who's looking for assistance, if you go to our housing webpage and look for the tab that's related to measures to support people during the COVID-19 environment, there's a tremendous amount of information there related to evictions and related to rental assistance. Currently, our partner is South Bay Community Services. They do have a COVID-19 resources website available where not only Chula Vista, but South Bay residents can look to for assistance in various ways. So I did want to make that known to you all. You might I've also heard that our new president on his first day did sign an executive order to extend the federal eviction moratorium. The state eviction moratorium ends January 31st. And we have not heard from the state that they're looking to extend that eviction moratorium, but we would anticipate then that the federal eviction moratorium would kick in once the state's expires. So we will have more information related to the federal eviction. I haven't gone through that yet. And I don't know if any of you have had experience or want to share any of that with the group. But we did want to make you aware of those things because I think it does affect this particular community, both from a business side as well as a resident side. So if you have any questions, we're more than willing to talk about that and answer. And I have Jose Gerardo on the line as well. Okay. I think that is our only comment, aside from so happy to have a full commission and being able to meet, because I don't think we've met for a really, really long time.
I think last time was last year about this time, right?
Yes.
It was just me and Teresa.
It was just Paula and Teresa. Yes, absolutely. So, so thankful for all of you taking the time to participate in the civic process, to give your input, and to serve your community. I cannot thank you enough. And the job that you do is really important to those 3,400 residents that are counting on this body to do some of the business for them. So with that, I don't know if Danya or any of the staff members have any other comments. But that would conclude ours. Mine, at least.
Yep, nothing from me. I think we're good.
Very good.
So when is the next scheduled meeting, technically?
It's the third Thursday in April, so April 15th.
And we can do it by Zoom again if needed, right?
We are anticipating being in this format for quite a while. We're anxious to get back to an on-site. This is a very tedious and technologically challenging environment. And I don't always think it's the best for public input. It can be convenient, but still.
Yeah. It's hard for senior citizens sometimes to be able to navigate the technology to get on.
Yeah. I mean, there's a convenience of, right, being able to stay at your home and wear your sweats on the bottom and your nice blouse on top. But at the same time, it's nice to be able to see and talk to people face to face.
Well, the last meeting we had, there was probably 40 or 50 people there. And if you see now, we have no one on this call. Exactly. So that just tells you that it inadvertently diminishes the public participation.
Yes.
It's a community that's very interested in what goes on in their mobile home parks. So even if it's not something that directly impacts them, they're interested to see what's going on in the mobile home park community.
Yep. And being able to communicate concerns and issues to us directly. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, we would love to be out.
I have to agree. I definitely have to agree with, I think it was Commissioner Woodsell, if I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. I think that the community that we're serving is a lot of times very low income. So internet access alone would be, just very difficult. So I don't know what the accessibility is and what we're doing in order to really have people participate. I don't know if, just internet access alone, having a tablet or a computer, stuff like that. I don't know how we're going to be able to increase the participation in our mobile parks with this platform.
Yes, and I think we heard that at one of and Commissioner Witzel, I believe you were present at that meeting, where it was a senior park that we were at, and they were talking about really having difficulty finding information, navigating for information, etc. So yes, absolutely, wholeheartedly agree.
But the other thing that we have to weigh is the safety, because it's exactly this community that's the highest risk. So that's the other part that, we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place in regard to that. So
yep,
it's a tough situation.
Very tough. So thankful to all see you all safe and sound in your environments.
So the notice will go out then for the next meeting, which is April 15, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Chair, if you have any comments or any, we're kind of free-flowing here, so I'm hearing a lot of comments from members as well.
Oh, sorry. Chair Cordero, you're muted.
Oh, good. No, I don't have any comments.
Are there any other comments from the board, members or commission members? No.
Thank you, Ms. Commissioner Cordero, for stepping up.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Commissioner Aguirre.
Yes, thank you.
I agree as well. Thank you to our new members. So with that, Chair, would you like to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, what do I say? Let's see. Oh, so it is now 7:26 p.m. and I am adjourning this meeting to our next regular meeting of the Mobile Home Rent Review Commission on April 15th of 2021, probably on this format also.
Perfect. So with that, thank you.